Hey everybody, my name is Bruce Trevithick. I'm with the Genesee County Medical Control Authority, and we're going to be doing videos periodically just to give you some updates on what's going on in the pre-hospital setting here in Genesee County. And starting off for this week, I just wanted to give you some updates on protocols that will be changing or added to the system. So first of all, we are going to be changing the EMS personnel responsibilities protocol to allow for the trauma certification of TECC to be accepted as one of our requirements. We have a number of different options that are available to EMS personnel to use for trauma certification, but this is one more option that's available to you, and there are some individuals out there that have obtained this certification and want to be able to allow that as an accepted one in our county. We are going to be adding an LVAD protocol. It's rare that EMS providers run into one of these devices, but this protocol will give you some guidance on what you should do should you encounter a patient that has one of these devices. We are adding a new protocol, an ALS to BLS transfer of care protocol. Periodically, what happens is we have an ALS first response unit on scene with a transporting BLS unit, and the call's been dispatched as a tier 1 call, but the patient's been deemed BLS based upon the evaluation of the paramedic on scene. What this protocol does is provide guidance on how that handoff should occur, so that both the paramedic has gone through everything they need to go through to properly evaluate the patient, and also make sure that the BLS crew is comfortable with the handoff of that patient to their care. We are adding a new protocol, a TPA protocol. Some of you might recall that we made some changes last year that would allow for TPA patients being transferred from one facility to another to be transported by ALS level provider instead of a SCT or a CCT paramedic. So this protocol just provides some additional guidance on how to handle those situations. And then we also wanted to let you know that there has been a new state protocol related to infection protection during COVID-19, and probably the most critical change to this new protocol is the requirement of N95 masks where they are available. So if your agency does have N95 masks, it is the expectation of this protocol that all providers be wearing those during patient contact. So those are the protocol changes that you're going to be seeing this month. And then I just wanted to touch base on for paramedics changes as it relates to 12 leads. So many of you have been familiar through the years of our 12 lead training and testing protocol and program. We had a new paramedic training that involved both an online component, a face-to-face interaction with Dr. Jewell, a training with Dr. Jewell, and then a 12 lead test, and then there was a 12 lead refresher test. And so that has been on hold since the pandemic started. And during this last 2 years, really what we have found is some good results when it comes to cath lab activations. Our false activation rate has been less than 10% over the last 2 years. In fact, in 2019, it was about 93%. In 2020, it was 95%. And this last year, slightly over 90% correct activations. So our false activation rate has been good. And during this last 2 year period, we haven't had the 12 lead training and testing requirement. So it has been the Education Committee's recommendation that we move forward and discontinue that requirement unless we see some changes that might need to reactivate that. So at this point, initial training of paramedics on 12 leads and STEMI recognition is to be done by agencies, as well as any refresher that needs to be done. The only additional training that we will expect paramedics to do is the annual RACER training. This is the American CME program where you are provided with strips and 12 leads, and you evaluate what the finding is on those 12 leads. And then you have to get at least 30 correct strips identified, and then that's it. So this is going to be done every February. This is what we have been doing the last number of years. This is February, so if you're a paramedic, make sure you complete the racer training, get that certificate to your agency, and they'll forward it to us to make sure that you're in compliance with that requirement. And then, as I mentioned, we're just going to be monitoring the activation rates. We are very hopeful that things continue to go well, and we see this kind of results we've seen over the last 2-3 years, so we don't have to go back to doing any sort of intensive 12-lead training or testing through our office. All right, so that's all of the updates we wanted to provide to you. We anticipate doing one of these videos maybe once a month, maybe more frequently, depending on what material we have to get out to you. But as always, we are available here at the GCMCA offices or via email. Feel free to call or email anytime if you have any questions or need any assistance. Thank you.